Hello everyone, welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, blue dot in a red state, utilizing Tarot to help us navigate these very interesting times we have going on here in the United States. So I'm glad that you're here and welcome. And real quick shout out and reminder to subscribe and like. It just helps me grow my channel. So just kind of want to get that out there real quick. Okay, this reading, Okay, first of all, I want to give a shout out to the post side of YouTube. I have been started to utilize that, and I did a reading. I just put the cards out and just wrote. It was a written reading of Stephen Miller and Katie Miller and Elon Musk, and what. And so, what I got in that was that. Actually, I was asking about Elon's black eye and was trying to see if it actually was little X that did it or if it was Stephen Miller. And I did not get I got that it wasn't Stephen Miller that did it, but he was not sad. Okay. And as I said, that's over in the post side, the written part of YouTube. And and just a real quick note, I am going to start utilizing that more. So, check that out. Because anytime I have like just a real quick reading, it's not really a full video reading, but it's just a quick question, I'll put it on over there. And so I thought, this will just be, I'll do like a hot goss type, reading, and we'll just do the whole silly gossip thing between, Katie Miller and Elon and Stephen Miller and all that. And so that was actually the initial intent for this reading. But as I was reading more about it, I came across a whole bunch of other stuff, not about their throuple. So, but what I came across was Michael Cohen had some insight into this, and it's related to Musk, and it's about Elon and Trump, about kind of like what's going to go on there. It's all going to tie together, I promise. Okay, so this is what Michael Cohen and this is kind of the second part of what I want to read on. Is he correct in that, quote, things are going to get ugly between Musk and Trump? This is what Michael Cohen said. I'm going to go one step even further again, and I'm going to say Trump will ultimately go after Elon's money next because it bothers him that he is the richest man in the world. Yeah, and he said, yes, he used him for his money. Okay. Cohen also predicted that Trump will use the so-called Department of Government Efficiency to go after Musk, looking at, quote, how Elon with his companies took advantage of the United States of America, and that Cohen thinks that Trump will look to claw back money such as the government subsidies for Tesla vehicles. Okay, so that's all, that's Michael Cohen, saying that Trump is probably going to be going after Elon and using the Department of Government Efficiency. And if you notice, Trump is already doing that. Trump is already out there saying, like, where's all the savings? Okay. That's also going to be part of another reading that I'm going to do about does Trump realize, is he just now realizing that he's kind of like only president in name only? So another reading. And then the very next article that kind of came up in my newsfeed was about Stephen Miller praising Trump. Saying, oh, this is a family-centric White House. Kids are welcome anytime. It was really, it was an interview with Laura Trump, and it was unclear when the interview was recorded, and like when his wife's departure was, or his wife's departure was not discussed, and his appearance seemed to serve as a counter to any rumors that there's a rift between Musk and Trump, which I don't know quite. But then Musk has been very vocal about his criticism of the big beautiful bill, and Trump has been vocal about his criticism of Doge not saving any money. And even as I was getting ready to record this, I got notification on my phone, and it was Musk, lashing out again at Trump, at the big beautiful bill, saying that all of my work was for nothing. And so, kind of taking a step back, you've got Katie Miller has run off with, Elon. You have Stephen out here talking about, oh, Trump's, being Trump's little cheerleader there. And then you've got this Michael Cohen saying, oh, yeah, Trump's totally is going to go after Musk. And Musk, especially if he's being critical about that big, beautiful, horrendous bill. So yeah, I just, is it hot goss? Is it, who knows? But this looks like it could get kind of nasty. It's like the leopards weren't supposed to eat their faces. Well, guess what? And really, who am I rooting for in this? I'm rooting for the leopards. Okay, so I guess let's start with the very first question I had written down here. Is Katie Miller leaving Stephen for Elon? I made a lot of bad choices in my day, but trying to choose between Stephen Miller and Elon Musk will never be one. Oh my God. So, entertainment purposes only. As I said, this will be the hot gossip part of this. Is Katie Miller leaving Stephen Miller for Elon? And I'm talking about in a romantic sense. In a, when I say leaving, is her and Stephen going to be getting divorced? What's going on here with that? Entertainment purposes only. She's trying to decide. She's like, who do I go with? Who do I stay? Is the grass greener on the other side? And really, the trouble, how do I navigate these troubling waters? And it was reported that they were a throuple. Oh, things I do not need to know. I do not need to know about that. The challenge, I think that the challenge is, she can make a lot of money, in the private sector. This is about her financial. What do I do financially? Who do I choose financially? She is going to look at the money. And, Elon's the richest man in the world. Old King Don there. That's interesting that the options are, what is it that Trump wants? And why would he be the one coming up here in her reading? Happiness. I kind of wonder, things coming to an end. I wonder if she's not seeing like the writing on the wall here with this Trump administration is not, long for this world. And it's coming to an end. She doesn't want to be left out in the cold. She's weighing her options of what to do. And, past experiences are, is her happiness. But, this money's what's going to make her happy, and her her security. And then you get potential. I think that she is seeing the writing on the wall with this administration, and that's why she's not going to be left out in the cold. She's weighing her options. Okay, so I'm just real quick, 3 questions. Is she still doing that? They were saying that Stephen Miller was keeping tabs on Elon through his wife, and that's where that throuple thing was coming. Like it was supposed to. They kind of read like, Stephen sent her to go be the spy in the camp. Is she still spying, or did she actually develop feelings for Elon, or is this still just a purely platonic, business proposal? But I do want to know. Let me think about it. That was a lot of questions I just put out there once. Let's focus on is she still spying? If you hear banging in the background, that's one of my cats trying to get into a cabinet. She likes to get in there and hide. So that's, if you hear a cabinet banging, there is not a haunted house. I already know. It's my cat Abby. I don't even have to go look. Okay, so is she spying on Elon for this administration? Things that are hidden, she's, maybe, because this has always been traditionally my yes card, but she definitely is in the know. Let's put it that way. Is she sharing that? I think she's sharing a little bit. It's like, I think she knows more than what she's sharing. And that could be the premise, like, I'm going to go work for Elon over here so that I can keep tabs on him. The Page of Cups is also like, I think she's, keeping hidden the feelings that she's developing there for him. Is this going to be anything more than a business arrangement? Is this going to be anything more than a business arrangement? I also want to say real quick, this could be a pregnancy card. Is she going to continue, having babies with Elon there? Ugh. So I just want to put that out there that this actually could mean that. It's the emotion, cups are emotions. And the reason I say pregnancy is, the cup with something in it, the fish. So, it could be that, things are being kept under wraps, things that are hidden could be that, maybe she's going to have, she's pregnant. But definitely, she's keeping tabs on Elon, but it's and then you get, I think that she's developing feelings. She's keeping that part hidden, and she's only releasing, like, she's only telling Trump, Stephen, whoever, just a little bit of what's going on. Let's see, I wanted to ask, let's see, what else do I want to ask with this? Developing, is she going to leave for romance? Whatever that looks like in that world, is she going to leave because she thinks she is developing a romantic relationship? As I said, this can indicate that. Work, I think she sees that this administration's coming to an end, and she's covering her ass with needing that next job, because the government one is coming to an end. As far as romance, this could indicate that there's more to that, but she's keeping that hidden. So the bigger thing is she sees, and that's interesting that she sees this coming to an end. Okay, so in this spat between Musk and Trump, I want to know what is, because apparently no one is sad to see Elon leave DC. You've got the, Stephen Miller's definitely not sad. You have the reports of, him and Musk and Besant getting into, another altercation. So Trump is out there going like, what the hell was Doge all about? So is Trump going to be going after Musk, like Michael Cohen has suggested? This is things up in the air. Things are, illusions. Trump is like, so what was that all about? Okay. For our country. Okay, now that noise that you're hearing, I've got I have 5 cats. I know, 5 cats. Who am I to argue with the cat distribution system? That we were blessed with 5 cats, and so now I've got one just off of to the side. Max, come here. See if I can get Max to come over here. Come here, Max. Okay, he's busy batting at something, but he was one that people down the street moved and left their 4 cats. And neighbors, we've all, taken them in, and Max was the one that found his way to us. So he's a sweet little guy. Okay, so back to this. Is Trump going to be going after Musk? And I think I don't know that, did Trump actually believe that Doge was supposed to be cutting costs? Because, this is one, and this could also be Trump is confused about, like, what Musk was doing. Waiting to see, like, this is not what he thought it was going to be. People rising up. People aren't happy. Trump knows that. People aren't happy. He sees all that. And, boy, he's going to see that on June 14th, too, the No Kings protest. This is working on deals. I think that Trump was told one thing, and that's not what's happened. And then, the Page of Cups. Pages, messages, emotions. This is like emotional messaging and emotions. I almost get this feeling like Trump is feeling like he wasn't told the truth. He was played for a fool. And you get that whenever, he was saying, is Putin just, playing me? Was Doge just, like, where's the savings? You get these moments where Trump is like, what's going on here? And it's like he wasn't even told the truth. And that's interesting because I have a reading coming up that I'm going to be doing, and it's like another shout out for my post on the YouTube is I was putting out there, like, does he even realize, like, it's almost like he's starting to realize that he's only POTUS in name only. Like, they let him have, his, the reality TV show portion of that. But, Don, let the adults run the country. You can have this, but we're actually going to be the ones running the country. And it's almost like this feeling of he's waking up to that. Okay. What's going to happen to Musk now that he's been speaking out against the big beautiful bill? He's speaking out against, because he's like, it just ruined all of Doge's work. It was for nothing. Or is this just all a big show? Okay, what's going to happen to Musk in all of this? Does he get to keep the money and the girl? Celebration, happier times, tens. Tens are also a completion. So, happy about being done with his work there at Doge. He's done, like the world card. This is one of achievement. It's the last card in the major arcana. So this tells me that this is coming to the end of one's journey, and he's happy. He's happy that his time in the government is done. He, planning for the future. And I think, after seeing what, happened with Tesla's stock and the sales, he realizes that his options are he's going to have to figure things out. He's going to have to, what's going on with his money. The challenge here is, yes, he finished, but now what? He's finished his work in the government, but now he has tarnished his brand so bad. Can it be, salvaged? And past experiences, always looking out into the future, looking into that next thing, looking for, ships coming in. But he's seeing, like, is that kind of like coming to an end? Recent influences, the passion, the lovers with the 3 coming up here. I could read that as that throuple with Musk, and he gets the girl, but, ew, let's just... I'm going to go on. I don't want to go down that road, please. No. And then looking for, like, what's next. What's he going to do next is kind of that next, is that final card, his potential. What am I going to do now? So yeah, I don't think that he's sad that his time here is ending, but he is definitely looking out into, like, what am I going to do in the future because of, his brand being tarnished? Is Trump going to have, retaliation against him? He thinks he's the richest man in the world. Trump can't touch me. And, I think that Trump is going to have something different to say about that. So, let's see. Do I have anything else? Musk, big beautiful bill. Let me just do, any final cards we need to know here about Musk and Trump. Any final cards here? Mad King Don, he's, this is the very center of this is going to be about Trump, and the challenge is everything that he's doing to our country. Musk is not the president. Okay, he does not sit in the Oval Office. Trump does. So, right now it's the Trump show, not the Elon show. The options are needing a more practical approach. However, we don't get that. Things. I almost feel like there's going to be this illusion of, like, things are calmer, but just because we don't have, Elon breaking into and Doge breaking into all of the the government offices. That part has come to an end. And I am doing a reading on Peter Thiel, and phase 2 of Doge is going to be beginning. And that's going to be a lot more behind the scenes that we don't. Reporting is coming out on it. Okay. And as I said, I'm going to do a reading on that. So Trump is almost like, things are going to calm down now that Musk is out of here, and I don't have, we won't have people, protesting because they're protesting Doge. That's what he thinks. He thinks that they're protesting Doge. And Queen of Pentacles. This could be this is in past experiences, and this is going to be the queens I typically see as like our country. And so this is going to be the foundation of this is like the strength of our country. But yet you've got Trump here in the middle of it, so anything that he does is going to be like opposite day. I always say it's like the upside down whenever you talk about Trump. The recent influences are, what is it that we can do? Everything that we can get away with. What law can I use, to do whatever it is I want to do? And the potential here is, how do I get what I want? Trump wants to win at all costs. This is about Trump. So Trump he wants to win at all costs. He really thinks that the people were protesting against Elon, and now that Elon is gone, people will be happy again. It's like, okay, that's, and with this card here, I want to add, because this is like, he thinks things are going to calm down. I want to know, is this actually a tiff between the two of them, or is this all for show? And I'm just going to do 3 cards. Is this actually, like a tiff between the two of them, or is it all for show to cover up something else? Things are up in the air. There's more going on behind the scenes. I don't know that, it's a different new world anytime he wakes up. And the Justice card. I think that Donald really thinks that he's the one in charge here. But this is like, there's so much behind the scenes and up in the air, and the court case, the illegality of everything that they're doing. Okay. But yeah, I think that Trump thinks that it's a real thing. Okay. And he thinks that he's going to be able to, win. He thinks he's going to win. This is all about Trump. So it's almost like Elon doesn't matter, because those last rounds of cards Elon wasn't even there. It's all about Trump. The reason I was asking, do they realize, like, is this a real thing, or is this kind of like for show? I feel like I always do like teasers for that next reading that I'm going to post, but I really am. And I really do post. It's going to be, I'm scrolling down through here. It's about Peter Thiel. And there's a lot going on with that. And they're talking about Doge's like moving into phase 2, which is that database that they're building with all of our data. Okay. And so part of me almost wonders, like, is this, this hot gossip, this thing to talk about, with Stephen Miller and Elon and Katie Miller, and then you got the fighting with, Trump and Musk. Is all of that just a show to keep, to like, look at this bright shiny object over here so you don't see this over here? And it's being reported though about Peter Thiel. I've seen that in several places. So with Katie Miller and Stephen Miller and Elon Musk and Donald Trump, what it looks like is Donald really thinks that he's the one in charge, that he's running the show, that Elon is what has made his presidency thus far be, that's why the people are mad. So now that Musk is gone, people won't be mad. That was the feeling I'm getting, like Trump's really that delusional. Katie is seeing the writing on the wall and is seeing this administration is going to come to an end. And if she wants a job, and, I'm sure Elon has offered her, money, a lot more money. They always say, you can work, salaries are so much more in the private sector than the public sector. So, I mean, that's not a true moment that she was going to be offered more money, to go over here and work for. Is it SpaceX that she's working for? So, I think what started out as, what started out as, keeping tabs on him, I think turned into a little bit more. And then she started seeing the writing on the wall and realized she needs to look out for herself. So that's what she's doing. She's looking out for herself. Are there romantic feelings there? Possibly. That Page of Cups makes me think that maybe there is. But really, these people are all made from that same, ilk, which is, money's the most important thing to them. I will say that I would like to think that, her as a mother of 3 is thinking, okay, I need to find a way to be able to provide for my children. I don't know that she's got that in her DNA. Okay. Entertainment purposes only. I do not know her. Maybe that's what she's doing. Maybe she's looking out for the future, and that Page of Cups was how is she going to provide for her children whenever this administration is done. That could be it. Okay. I don't think it is, but it could be. And then now so, and then with, this Musk and Trump thing, I think they really are just not happy with each other. I think that bromance is on the rocks. So, who am I rooting for? The leopards, I guess. I don't, it doesn't matter to me with that. As I said, this was supposed to be, a fun, hot goss type of reading. And then whenever I started getting into the research of that, it's like, oh my gosh, there's like some stuff going on here behind the scenes. Will we ever get to know more about that? I think so. I think that we'll find out more, especially as this administration just kind of, I just really see it just kind of disintegrating. And we're kind of like at the beginning of that right now. And Katie Miller is seeing that on the wall. I think seeing the writing on the wall, that was kind of probably my biggest takeaway, is that she's seeing that. So I will keep watching this, especially the disintegration of this administration and kind of where that goes. So thank you for joining me. I'll put another reading up and subscribe for you to check out, and I will catch you on the next reading. Have a good day.